Can't even tell it's got a turbo on it. Is that the way you wanted it?
That's the way I wanted it.
This is a 9-second all-wheel drive street car.
That's right.
Hey, what's up everybody? It's Julian with TRC. I'm actually out here in Houston, Texas. We came to see Huy Tran. You guys know him for his Evo, but he's actually got a sleeper DA, arguably one of the best looking cars I've seen in a long time. It's actually all-wheel drive. It's 9 seconds. Let's go check it out.
What's up, man?
How you doing?
How you doing?
My name is Huy Tran, and this is my 1991 Acura Integra.
So it's not VTEC?
Nope.
It's a 4LS motor, no VTEC. This engine is a little bit old school. It's a short block from ERL with the sleeve. It's had Y-score piston, mainly H-beam rods. Had some upgrade rod bolts, 625 rod bolts. The head is a little bit old school because there's a little history with this car, but the cylinder head was a JG ported cylinder head. That's how old it is. It had some Brian Crowell Stage 2 all motor cams in it. Got full Ferrari valve trains. It's an 84mm bore motor, so it's a 2-liter.
Could work better with a VTEC head, obviously, but
Okay.
it doesn't work right now, just the way it is.
I mean, when they said street car, I mean, what's up with is that power steering?
This is power steering.
Yeah, really.
Street as can be.
Street as can be. It's like sleeper clean. There's no stickers on it. There's nothing. You couldn't even tell this thing is all-wheel drive.
The turbo kit, once again, is pretty old school. The manifold is a custom ram horn made by my friend, his name is Giancarlo. He used to work for a chassis shop here in Houston. The turbo itself is a Force Performance HTA 82. It's a 59mm turbo. The intercooler is a spherical front mount intercooler. Towel blow-off valves. Turbonetic race gate, which is a big old wastegate in there. Small piping, 2.5-inch piping, nothing special. The transmission is an all-wheel drive, what they call is SBXM. It has a PBE billet bell housing, PBE billet transfer case. The gear set is Gear X H22 1-4. LSD is a wave track. H22 been modified to run with the H22 gear set just so that it can fit inside the all-wheel drive transmission. It has PPG transfer gear, PPG output shaft, and the clutch is a competition twin disc.
Actually, when I was in Dallas for IFO, we had the Bogart in the front, and then we had the regular 15-inch wheels in the back with the 24.5-inch slicks. So at first glance, it looked like it's still a front-wheel drive car. But I guess somebody caught wind, and we got protested right after that.
Are you telling me you were trying to hide one? Well, I guess it wouldn't be racing without, so huh?
No.
The all-wheel drive setup that we did required to have a later model Integra coilovers. So the front is still team, and the back is blocks drag coilover. The lower control arm is all S1 components. The front has some circle bushing, got full race traction bar, got a custom transmission plate that is bolted to the transmission to the traction bar that was custom made here. The rear end is a wagon rear end and it's completely stock. The drive shaft is a Honda Civic wagon all-wheel drive drive shaft. The Visc has been rebuilt by us with Brandon Hickson rebuilt kit. The front axle is drive shaft 3.9s. On the dyno, the car was making 590 on 34 PSI. At the track, the most I have turned up to was 36 PSI. It went 990 at 143. And the car cut 360 foot like that. So I built the transmission. As far as tuning, I tuned the car here at our in-house dyno. And we just disconnect the drive shaft and dyno front wheel drive.
It's weird because it feels like it tried to spin and then it just hooked. And it's like it pushing. So the all-wheel drive Honda has such a weird feeling. It's not like driving an all-wheel drive Evo, because you can always feel the all-wheel drive present.
In the Evo, you feel it all-wheel drive?
On the Honda, it's gonna act like a front-wheel drive until it spins, then the rear end just kicked in. Like I think that's the viscous doing the job. So
like rear-wheel drive assist.
Yeah. Well, one of my buddies, what he calls like front-wheel drive with training wheels.
Oh, front-wheel drive with training wheels.
Yep.
Well, I'll tell you what, it definitely didn't feel like we had any training wheels on this damn thing.
Whenever I drive it every day, I have a set of Volk T37. It's 15-inch wheels all the way around, 15x7. And I have a set of Toyo R888, 225/50 15s on it. It's hooked pretty well like that too, on the street.
Literally sits me back, I'm trying. I'm gonna practice to not close my eyes.
The fuel system, since we did the all-wheel drive, we have to put the fuel cell in the trunk. It's a 10-gallon Jazz fuel cell, nothing special. Had a Magna 750 pump, -8 feet line, -6 return. And the regulator is just an SX fuel pressure regulator, old school stuff again. The injector is a FID 2200 cc.
And how much does this car weigh?
3,006 pounds.
3,006
With me
pounds.
in it. I'm a fat dude, so.
I'm fatter.
I own this car for a little bit over a year now. I didn't do the all-wheel drive system. Arturo Solis, he's the one who did the whole setup. We didn't have the time here. We were moving the shop and everything else, so the guy, I know him very well. He used to work for me, so I left it to him and he did a phenomenal job on it. Everything was done right, everything cut nice and neat. Had seam sealer, had undercarriage spray on it, so I mean, it looked like it was belonged there.
It used to ride really nice with the team rear coil over, but I need the drag launch.
Yeah, you need the drag.
And then on top of it, the trailing arm kit from S1, it required me to have a later model shock.
Okay.
So I didn't have a choice.
Yeah, I feel it in the bounce, but I mean, you need that for the track too.
Right. Yeah, we definitely need it. So like on the all-wheel drive Honda, you want to stiff them up. Unlike the Evo, you have to soften the rear to let it launch. So the Evo would just squat when it launched, and then it'll come back up. But the Honda, you want to keep the rear stiff because naturally it's still much of a front-wheel drive more than an all-wheel drive car.
The cool story is this car used to belong to a friend of mine named Brian Staucup, and this is it's one of his very first car that he owns, and he went through college with the car, and at the time he used to go to a shop here, a chassis shop here, owned by a gentleman by the name John Harrison, and at the time my friend Giancarlo also worked there, so he had his hand on the chassis and the roll cage, did phenomenal job. Giancarlo is the only guy I would trust to do my chassis, and in fact he did the 25 5 in our shop race car over there. So Brian had the car, worked on there, and then of course he got ERL, built him the block. He got the cylinder head, and he did most of the work himself. The guy's an engineer. He did all the electrical works on it, and he plumbed just about everything. Brian built the car from the ground up. He had the car painted. He sourced out brand new factory carpets. Every single plastic molding and rubber seal is replaced. It looks like a brand new car. So I have to credit all that to him because it took him a while to fully restore the car. And when he was finished with it, the car actually had an Excel DFI in it. He worked for GE, he's an engineer for them, and they want to relocate him to Australia. So, he didn't want to part with the car, and but he just kind of didn't have a choice, and he didn't want the car to go to anybody. So he called Tom up and tried to get him to buy the car, but Tom wasn't in the position to buy the car. So Brian also had all the all-wheel drive stuff, but it's all CRV part at the time, and he wanted to do the all-wheel drive, but I guess he just didn't have the time to do it anymore, and he had to move to Australia. So, needless to say, I bought the car, and when he gave me the title to the car, he was actually crying. He was telling me it's like losing a child, but I just want to let him know that the car couldn't be in better shape, and there's only more to come with this.
Dude, this is a 9-second all-wheel drive street car.
That's right.
So I do have an Outlaw aluminum rod motor that I'm planning to put it in. It will have a VTEC cylinder head. Of course, we're going to revamp the fuel system, larger fuel system, maybe a better ECU, and of course a larger turbo. And I really want to go 850 in this car before the year's end. And of course, in the meantime, I have to drop the car back off to Gion since he did the cage, so then he can add more bars to the cage, put the parachute on. But I would still like to keep everything the way it is, power steering, power window, full interior is the way it sits, just so I can just take down the street whenever I please.
I'm ready to get out of this damn thing. It was fun though.
Yeah,
That was badass.
I appreciate all the work,
I
man.
appreciate it, man. This is wild.